What's up, everybody? This is Greg with Advantage One Brokers, and this is the ADV1 podcast. This is the podcast where we come to you each and every weekday with relevant topics and training. And today we have a very special guest. We're having another carrier training. We have Mr. Tony Morrison, the National Sales Director and AVP US Sales with Foresters Financial. Tony, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great, Greg. Thanks for having me. Appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, no. Thanks for coming on board.
Yeah.
So what we're going to do, I'm literally just going to hand the reins over to you, Tony. I know you mentioned you wanted to talk a lot about the strong foundation, and talk a little bit about probably the Smart UL. But I know a lot of agents are getting very, very antsy to write a lot of Smart ULs here lately. So, without further ado, the floor is yours.
Great. No, I appreciate that, Greg. And I'm going to bring up a deck, if you don't mind. I'm going to cover some of it through here, but I got a couple of things that are going to help people as we have a conversation. And let me just pop on this screen here real quickly, and let's share that for you. And give me a thumbs up that you can see it.
I'll let you know when. There we go. I see it.
Perfect. Yeah, Greg, as always, gosh, I can't tell you guys how much we appreciate the opportunity. You guys are certainly a strong partner of Foresters. We love working with you guys. The premium, the relationships are phenomenal. And, something that we've talked about over the last year is, Foresters does a great job in the non-medical atmosphere. I mean, we've done, the 2 to 10 minute decisioning, the issue pay as quick as possible, electronic delivery. Gosh, when the pandemic came around, we were poised to keep going. I mean, we were doing everything electronic that way. So we didn't miss a step at all. And we've seen, the production from you guys just continue to grow. So, but I do want to talk about one thing that is getting a lot of attention today, and that's our strong foundation, non-medical term. You'll notice on the screen in front of you, there's a QR code. If you can go ahead and hit that with your phone, that'll give you some updated information on the strong foundation that you can refer to later. So, but yeah, let's just jump into it. I'm going to pop through a couple of these because this is something that you will continue to use as far as Foresters goes in strong foundation. But strong foundation is typical non-medical term. It's our non-medical only. We don't have a medical option with this. We've got the your term. For the term, we got the strong foundation, medical, non-medical, advantage plus medical, non-medical, which you guys have used extensively. But again, traditional non-medical term product, pure life insurance, and it's available for type 1 and type 2 diabetics. So as you're talking with those clients, when you used to have to kind of put the app up and look at something different, now you don't have to with the strong foundation. If you want some additional product features, again, here's another QR code that'll take you to the product guide. The first one was kind of a synopsis of everything that Foresters has. This is going to be the product guide for the strong foundation. So let's talk about non-medical real quick. Non-medical has many meanings across all the atmosphere, if you will. But our non-medical is simply this. We're going to run an MIB. We're going to look at the prescription history. We're going to look at the height and weight chart. And of course, the application, we're going to look at the questions that were answered. But our build chart, we're looking at a build chart. You can be 6 foot, 307 pounds and still be a standard risk for us under the strong foundation. So Greg, there's a great opportunity here for people like me that grew up down south, that grew up on Krispy Kreme donuts. This is great. It helps a bunch. Unless you were in New York, where I was this past week and had a donut from Paula's Donuts. So those that are in New York will understand what I'm saying. But anyhow, the bottom line is there's a lot of leniency. Available underwriting classes. Here's where I really want you to pay attention to a couple of things we're going to talk about. Standard non-tobacco is, our standard non-tobacco includes non-tobacco rating for cigars, pipe, chewing tobacco, nicotine patches, vaping, even cannabis. And may cover cannabis here in just a second, but our cannabis definition is this. If somebody uses cannabis 6 times a week or less, we're okay looking at that on a recreational basis as non-medical. So I kid with a lot of people and say, listen, just give us Sundays off, but you have an opportunity here where if you run into that, now we have an opportunity to cover them.
It's very lenient.
Very lenient.
That's very lenient.
Very lenient. So don't run from those anymore. And don't be afraid to ask the question. because again, tell us up front, we're going to have them fill out the drug questionnaire, not a big deal to us. If it's on a medical basis that they're using it for, then of course, we're going to have some questions for the underlying reason.
Yeah.
Recreational basis, 6 times a week or less, it's a great opportunity. Our standard non-medical will also consider COPD. So if we've got somebody that has mild COPD, they're not taking a prescription steroid, using oxygen, or have been advised to, more than likely that's going to be an acceptable risk to us. So think about these 2 items that are just here. You've got to be having clients go through your mind right now and says, you know what, I walked away from that client, or I couldn't get the client because now that they were a smoker, because they use chewing tobacco or they vape, now I have an opportunity where I can go in and look at that client, potentially on a standard non-smoker basis.
Yeah.
So works well.
That's really well. That works really well.
So here's something that we just introduced, and a lot of people, a lot of buzz going around, a lot of people asking about this, is our strong foundation right now is issued standard tobacco, non-tobacco, which includes up to 6 tables. Now that's because we're leaning again on the COPD. We're leaning again on the non-tobacco definition. We'll talk about the diabetes in depth here. So right now you can get a standard non-tobacco, non-medical rate through table 6 for a type 1, type 2 diabetic. And we'll go through some of those items here in just a second. But we recently introduced what we believe is a industry first substandard non-medical through table 12. So again, you're sitting down, you're writing, talking to that client, they tell you that they've got type 1 diabetes. We're going to show you a calculator here in just a second that you can use. Now you can underwrite that client on a non-medical basis through table 12. The table in front of you we'll look at here a little more in depth now. But our non-medical definition through standard, they can have an A1C of 8.9. Now, assuming that they don't have any other issues, such as vision, nerve pain, those types of things, 8.9 in controlled diabetes is an acceptable risk to us.
Man, that's also pretty good. Most people, even when they're on insulin, they're usually testing out like 7.5 or right at the 8 level.
And now, because of the expansion that we did from table 7 to 12, that A1C can be as high as 10.9. So what we're looking at are those, let's call them healthy diabetics, if you will, those people that don't have the kidney issues, the heart disease, but they've got an A1C that gets out of whack on them. Well, here's an opportunity now where you can do that on a non-medical basis. We've talked about our height and weight already. The duration of diabetes we'll cover here in just a second. But again, the opportunity to go out and cover people, help those families that you weren't able to help in the past is now available. So Greg, there's a fabulous opportunity here.
Yeah.
Here's some knockout medicines that typically come up. Gabapentin is number 1. If we've got gabapentin, we're going to have an issue that we may need to look at that potentially on a medical basis. But again, just general list here. So don't take this as everything, but it's a general list. And since you're recording it, people will have this available to them. Non-medical, here's the beautiful part about this. On a standard non-medical, we will go as high as $400,000 through 55. On the substandard, so those people that are a little off on their A1C from that 8, let's call it 9 to 10.9 A1C, we're looking at tables 7 through 12. We will still go 300,000 non-medical through 55. So you've got that client again that should be, you're thinking about that you were unable to get as much coverage as you wanted, or maybe no coverage at all. Now we have an opportunity for consideration of up to $300,000 on a non-medical basis. And if you've got that 56 plus client, look at that, up to 150.
Yeah. No, that's fantastic for especially for the older ages, because you'll find a lot of times, and you run into all the time, those clients that are in their late 50s that had diabetes for most of their life. A lot of times they get on insulin when they get older.
Yeah, I mean, it's what we're looking at as an opportunity. Of course, everybody knows about the Your Term, the Advantage Plus, the Smart UL, which you guys are using tremendously. Now here's an opportunity where you can get somebody coverage, get that family member coverage that potentially didn't have it in the past. Issue ages, we think we've got a couple of niches here. Look at the 10-year term. The 10-year term on a non-medical basis, we will go to age 80. So you've got those clients that want more than that final expense at $35,000. They've got maybe some health issues. Here's an opportunity where we can go as high as age 8 in your term.
That's
We
awesome.
think it's a
That's
home
awesome.
run.
That's awesome.
Don't walk away from the old people, and I'm getting to be one of those, so don't walk away from us. But and then the 20-year and the 25-year term, for those that are in the mortgage market, that 25-year term is a good deal, because let's assume that you walk into a client's house and they've had their mortgage for 4, 5, or 6 years. Maybe 30 years not something that they want, but now you can bump it down to 25, save a little money, still protect that family and protect that mortgage. So certainly we think that that's going to be a niche. 2 niches there: 10-year term, 25-year term, we think are going to be great. So think about what we've talked about with this so far. We've talked about a non-medical product up to $300,000 or $400,000, depending upon whether they're standard or substandard. We're looking at that client with a relaxed tobacco definition. We're looking at them with mild COPD. And we're now looking at them with a diabetic situation where now we can underwrite that client where in the past we would have just said thank you and potentially walked away.
Yeah.
And now here's your offering in front of you. Here's the great part about this. The product is convertible. So when we look at this, we will have the ability to convert this product 5 years before the end of term or age 65 without evidence of insurability. So Greg, we were talking about the Smart UL a second ago.
Mm-hmm.
They have the ability to convert this product to a Smart UL.
Oh, wow.
So you get that client that has that mild COPD, you underwrite that, we get them underwritten, we get them issued approved under this product. And let's say 3 years down the road, you're doing one of your normal annual reviews, you're going in there and hopefully you've set the conversion up in the very beginning. And now you're going to say, Mr. and Miss Client, we talked about the conversion. It's been 3 years. Are we ready to convert now? Here's an opportunity now that we can convert to a traditional non-medical product like the Smart UL. And keep in mind, the Smart UL's underwriting is different than what the Strong Foundation is. So if we get a non-tobacco rating at Strong Foundation, we're going to convert that to a non-tobacco at Smart, even though we're much, much more lenient on the Strong Foundation. So for those of us that are now
That's
have
powerful.
your mind, oh yeah,
That's real
for
powerful.
those of us, your mind is moving, because think about what we've offered as a leniency. Now, I'm not saying send us all your unhealthy people, because we make money on healthy people as well. But here's an opportunity where you can get into the household and you can talk much, much deeper about insurance, where previously you may not have been. Greg, we think that this is a home run. I mean, just in the few things that we've talked about right now.
Oh, absolutely. I would agree.
Charity benefit provision, I'll cover that real quickly. Bottom line is Foresters pays out 100% of the death benefit, even on this product here, but on our Smart UL, our whole life and your term, and now Strong Foundation, we pay out 100% of the death benefit. We then pay 1% to the client's charity of their choice at no cost to them. Some would say we pay out 101% death benefit, if you will. So again, we've got that $400,000. Beneficiary gets $400,000. We're sending $400,000 to a local church, synagogue, Rotary Club, whatever 501c3 they want us to send it to at their passing in their name. It's a way for us to help the client participate in what goes on in their community, and it's free.
That's awesome.
Riders, what riders? Gosh, the question comes up is, Tony, this is great. I love the product. What's my living benefits on this? The product has living benefits. So the chronic, critical, terminal illness are going to be available through standard. Substandard is going to be terminal illness only for obvious reasons. There's a lot of risk there. But again, the living benefits are available. And for those in California, yes, even in California. Family health benefit rider, common carrier accident rider, and then of course the children's term rider we see added on there, a pretty good amount, Greg, because we have the opportunity to convert those children's term riders through age 25.
Okay.
So we can go 5 times face up to $100,000 through age 25. So a great opportunity here to cover that family.
What's the min and max for the child's term?
Yeah. So
or child's term rider?
Yeah, so we're going to have a minimum of 5. You can go up to $25,000 per child for just $1 for just $12.50 a month. So whether you've got one child, it's $12.50. If you've got 10 children, it's still just $12.50.
Okay.
So again, great opportunity there. Since we're talking about diabetes, guys, you're going to hear me talk about member benefits here in just a second, just a couple of them. I'm not going to cover everything today, but I am going to give you an opportunity to download that. We do have a new benefit where the client and their immediate family members can actually log on to the client portal and access discounted diabetic supplies. So you've got a diabetic you've sold this product to. Now you have the ability to go in there and offer them discounted diabetic supplies through Roche. And I encourage you to have that conversation. And again, it's for the client and for the immediate family. So again, you've kind of seen just kind of a high level view of what this product can do and the opportunity. And again, you've probably taken your pen and you're writing clients' names down that you want to call after this, and at least have a conversation and see if it's something that you can do. So great. I'm going to take a little bit of a deeper dive into this, just so we can, kind of tie some things up that are going to be very helpful. We are going to use a calculator. I'm going to show you a calculator here in just a second that's going to help you with field underwriting, because you're our first line of field underwriting. We need to know everything from you. So we're going to show you a calculator. I'm going to show you real quickly how to run a quote. And then, of course, everybody's doing an e-app and everybody's shaking their head. Yes, do the e-app, because it's going to keep our not in good order issues out of the way. Because again, submission to commission is the goal, right? We're going to help families. Now that we've written that case, I want to get it issued, placed, get it in their hand, because we want to help them. So do the e-app. And fortunately, the e-app has a diabetic questionnaire, which I'll cover very quickly as well. Again, we've talked about the expansion. And that expansion and what you're going to give us on that questionnaire is going to help us underwrite that. Remember, on a non-medical basis, you're telling us the client's story. So if there's something else that we need to know about, please put it in the comments. So again, field underwriting is going to be very important. You'll hear me harp on that a couple of more times. So let's look at our diabetic calculator. Greg, I will tell you, this is phenomenal, because you're talking about field underwriting. This gives us an opportunity to potentially see where a client will place under the strong foundation. Is it going to be standard, or is it going to be substandard? I have a QR code again. If you'll hit the QR code, you will get a copy of the diabetic calculator, and you can save it on your phone, or you can download it onto your laptop. And this is a general idea of, okay, Tony, how do I quote this client? What's this client going to be? We're going to ask 6 questions. That's it. What's number 1, insulin, yes or no? Because remember, we do type 1 and type 2 diabetics. What's their A1C? If your client doesn't know what their A1C is, we probably need to ask additional questions, because typically those that deal with diabetes know what that A1C is.
Yes.
They should know. So if they don't, then maybe we need to kind of back up and ask some more questions. So we're going to answer these 2 questions. How long have they had diabetes? And it's a slide, as you see, so you can move it up and down. And what's their age? Then we're going to ask their height and, of course, their weight. So really what we're looking at in this is duration, type, height, and weight. And then we get our answer. Based upon our field underwriting and what you've told us, we're going to get standard, a rated, or potentially a decline. This is a fabulous field tool. Here's what I will encourage you. If you get a rating or if you get a decline, go back and ask that client a few more questions, because let's be honest. I mean, if you're down south and you say, hey, listen, how far is it to the next store? We're going to tell you, oh, it's about 6 miles, and maybe it's only 3.
Yeah.
So maybe somebody's making an assumption. So let's dig into it and get a better answer. And that may help us underwrite that case. So again, Greg, we think that this is a phenomenal opportunity to take a look and get that field underwriting done. Once you get that quote, then you can use your mobile app. Hopefully you've gone to the App Store and downloaded Forrester's mobile quotes. And you have the opportunity right here to go in and run the quote, put in your rating. And then you also have the opportunity on the next screen, after you do the rating, to email that quote. And so again, we're trying to make everything as simplistic as we can. Put your office in your hand. And in addition to that, should you download this, you can log in with your normal agent login. You can get access to your client information, pending, enforced, phone numbers, addresses. It's just a tremendous tool that we use. So again, you're going to do the calculator, you're going to do the quote, and you're going to send it to the client. the client agrees, they like it. You're going to go through, complete the application like you normally do. You're going to hit yes on the diabetes. You're going to, again, click details. That brings up your questionnaire. So we're going to click off on the diabetes. And then when we do, it's going to bring up the questionnaire. And here's where we need to really pay attention to a lot of the questions, because again, we need to know what the A1C is. We need to know when they were first diagnosed. Do you test your own? Give us as much information as you can about that client. If there's something additional we need to know, please put it up here, because when an underwriter takes a look at it, we're going to see, you know what, the client, walks 5 miles a day, they play tennis twice a week. Those types of things, again, you're telling us your client's story, because the only thing we know about your client is the application, MIB, prescription history, and their height and weight. So anything that you think you can tell us about the client, please put it in here.
Okay.
But again, A1C is helpful.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So we're trying to make it very easy. Going through the questionnaire, if we have eye problems, heart problems, high blood pressure, we need to really dig into this, because if you remember, we're very lenient on the diabetes unless we have some of these major issues like this. If there are some major issues like this, there may be an opportunity to back up and have a deeper conversation, or I encourage you to use our risk assessment line. You'll speak with Gloria or Linda, and they'll give you an idea if this is someone that we can continue looking at on a non-medical basis. And I'll give you the phone number at the very end.
Okay.
So when you look at this, gosh, Greg, I think we've got a great opportunity here. You've got a great term product that, again, lenient on COPD, lenient on tobacco, lenient on diabetes, with a conversion opportunity through age 65 or 5 years before the end of the term. We've given you a great way to quote this, very easy way to quote it, field underwriting, and then run the illustration. I think it's tremendous, and hopefully the team does as well.
No, I know they will. And I was gonna start asking questions about the whole membership thing. I'm glad you got it in here, because a lot of people don't know about Forest's membership and what that actually means.
Yeah. And the unfortunate part is, you're absolutely right, Greg. I've been in this business 32 years, the last going on 7 with Foresters, and absolutely love the member benefits. That's what keeps me really pushing this hard, because unfortunately, member benefits don't show up on the spreadsheet. They don't show up on a number. When you look at a spreadsheet, you see $43.18 a month. Okay, that's great. Do we go with company A or company B? And that's why the member benefits are extremely important. Again, QR code here. If you hit the QR code, you will download the brochure that lists all the member benefits. I'm not going to cover all of them today. I'm going to cover 2 or 3, but it gives you all of them there. And it's, again, extremely helpful. And there's value to those. The value for client A may be $5 a month. The client value for client B may be $30 a month. Because once you add all these in, they're complimentary, they're free. There's no additional cost to them. If they're paying $43.18 a month for their term policy, they're paying nothing additional for all the member benefits. So let's look at a couple real quickly. We've talked about the diabetic benefit already. I won't spend a lot of time on that, other than to say it makes sense that we've got a diabetic benefit. It's being used tremendously. Your clients go on the client portal to access all the member benefit information, and this is one of them. The next one is the scholarship, the competitive scholarship. We give away 250 competitive scholarships to member families every year. Last year, almost $2 million went out, and that was at about $2,000 a hit. That's now been increased to $2,500 per award. So now we're giving away 300 scholarships per year, worth up to $2,500 per scholarship. And here's the great part about it. They're not all academic based. Listen, academics are great. I applaud those people that end up with a 6.0 GPA with AP classes and all this. Unfortunately, that didn't happen in my household growing up, but there's certainly an opportunity there. But we are weighting our scholarships on community service. 65% of the weighting for our scholarships is based upon community service, 35% on GPA, a minimum 3.2 GPA. Doesn't mean we don't have smart people that get these scholarships. What it means is there's an opportunity for a larger pool of people to be awarded scholarships.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. And then here's another item. In 2019, I don't have the 2020 numbers yet. Of the 250 scholarships awarded, 85 were to grandchildren, because our scholarships are available to the insured, their spouse, their children, and their grandchildren. So if you have a client that has a grandchild or somebody that is coming up, let's say 2 or 3, 4 or 5 years before going into college, talk to them about this, because they're available for grandchildren as well. Talk real quickly. We're in the mortgage market. A lot of times we're talking with clients that have families. If you are not talking about the orphan benefit, you are missing out on one of the best benefits that Florister's, I believe, potentially has. So we sell our policy. Let's say it's $400,000, one to both parents. So we've got $400,000 on mom, $400,000 on dad, and there's a common disaster. Mom and dad were to pass away. Aside from being just a complete devastation, we're going to pay out the $400,000 each to the named beneficiary. However, what's going to happen is, let's assume that they've got 3 children. Somebody is going to raise those 3 children. Typically, it's a guardian, and typically that guardian is a family member. There's going to be a financial implication to that family. Granted, we've taken out that $400,000 each. We've paid off all their bills. There's now maybe a couple $100,000 left, if that. What do we do to help that family that's going to raise those children? Again, let's assume there's 3 children. In addition to the death benefit, and at no cost to the client, foresters will pay up to $900 a month per child until those children are the age of 18. So in our example, Greg, we're talking $2,700 a month goes to that guardian, that family member, if you will, whoever's raising those children. $2,700 a month, roughly $31,000 a year, that's being paid out to help raise those children.
Yeah.
You know that's going to be a huge help. In our family, it would be a huge help.
That'd be massive help. I got 4 children myself.
I mean, it's amazing. And think about this, as you're talking to your clients about this, which can be a difficult conversation, you're talking about, okay, Greg, who would be your legal guardian? In our case, it would be my brother. Maybe we need to sit down with your brother and go through this as well to make sure that they understand. It's not meant to be a referral, but what do you think my brother's going to say? Gosh, well, what happens the other way? It's a natural referral where you're talking about these benefits. So look at this. I mean, $900 per month per child until the age of 18, and this is a free benefit, and on and above the death benefit. So I encourage you, in the middle market, the family market, please talk about this.
That's a great selling point that I don't think that
huge
that has ever. I've sold quite a bit of foresters. I've never used that. But that's a great selling point.
It is. It is. And again, the opportunity to sit down and make sure that the family understands what potentially is there. Again, this is not a comfortable conversation, but it's one that needs to be had. One of our most recent, and I'll tell you, Greg, this has just gone over like wildfire, is when you're sitting down and talking with your clients, 67% of your clients do not have a will. More of them don't have a power of attorney or a healthcare directive, I would assume. Now, when they own a forester certificate, that insured, if it's $10,000 or more, they now have the ability for a will, a power of attorney, and a healthcare directive free of charge. There's going to be different values at different states for this. In Florida, this may be a $1,500 value. In Midwest, it may be less than that, but there's value here. Clients, especially middle market, they don't do this. Will, power of attorney, healthcare directive. It could be cost, could be time, it could be privacy, it could be a whole host of those things. However, when they own a forester certificate, they have the ability to go onto our client portal, like we've talked about, and download their will, power of attorney, healthcare directive. If they can fill in the blank or do TurboTax, it's that easy. And it's going to be specific to the state. So if I'm in Texas, it's going to have Texas language. If I'm in Florida, it's going to have Florida language. They can update it. And if you've ever been involved with needing a power of attorney or healthcare directive, certainly a will, gosh, you know the importance of this. Here's the beautiful part as well. You have clients today, go back and talk to them about what they now have. So you're getting beat up on the phone this week and somebody's telling you, no, pick up the phone, call your current clients and say, you know what, Greg, I want to let you know you made a great decision by purchasing a Forester certificate. Let me tell you what they've added: a will, power of attorney, and healthcare directive. Can I come by and show you how to access those? You've got potentially another opportunity to either work with that client on additional coverage should they need it, referrals, or nothing else, solidify that relationship. So again, 67% of the people you talk with do not have these, and we're going to give it to them for free when they own one of our financial products.
And also, depending upon who you are, I'd say like 80% of the clients, 90% of the clients I talk to don't have powers of attorney or wills, you know?
That's exactly right. Again, it's not meant to be a sales tool, but this doesn't show up in those numbers that we talk about, that $43.18 a month. If we're $5 cheaper than the other carrier that they're looking at, it's a no-brainer. Yeah. If we're $5 more expensive, what value do you assign to just a couple of items we've talked about? We've not talked about community grants, Forester's Care. We've not talked about a number of things. Those are available on what you downloaded. But again, great opportunity here, Greg. I think, looking at this, it's phenomenal. Anyhow, I told you I was going to give you a phone number. So we have a fabulous sales desk, which I know a lot of you have used. Jackie Lemon runs that for us. They've got a tremendous group up there. You'll dial the 866-466-7166 option 1. We talked about risk assessment. We've got 2 tremendous people in risk assessment, Gloria and Linda. If you'll dial the same number and hit option 2, you'll get to speak with them live and then go through the case with them. Is this somebody for non-medical? They may say, you know what, probably not, let's go to medical. Or they'll ask you some questions. Maybe you need clarifying answers in order to let us know. Again, we're setting the expectation. We want a good experience for the client, for you, and make sure that we're underwriting profitable business. So I think, Greg, looking at what we've offered today, I think there's a great opportunity where somebody can go out right now and make some additional money, help some additional families by looking at this product.
Oh, absolutely. No, this has been fantastic. I wanted to kind of go over Smart UL, but you know what? Yep. I think we need to do what we should do instead is do another video, bring you on again. Cause you went very thorough on this, and I want to do the same thoroughness on a Smart UL, because I know there's a lot to unpack with that one.
There is.
And so this has been fantastic. And I really appreciate you taking the time to come on and help agents in order to, know the ins and outs. There's gonna be agents there about be like, I want to become a Forester's member.
I tell you, here's the crazy thing, Greg. I think there's a great opportunity. I'm not advocating that they do it, but just look at the member benefits. If I can take 2 seconds to tell you about the community grants, those are worth up to $2,000 per grant when they're awarded. If I, as a member of Forester's, I can apply for that community grant, then I can use that for maybe book bags at a school. I can use it for a local charity, those types of things. If I'm doing book bags at a school, do you think there's going to be questions that come up and say, okay, who provided this? How did you provide it? Why did you do it? It's not, again, meant to be a referral at all, but there's going to be those types of questions, and you help in your community. Mm-hmm. So again, certificate of $10,000 or more, there's an opportunity for community grants worth up to $2,000 per grant, up to 3 times a year. Again, it's in that booklet that you downloaded.
Yeah, for the QR code, which, by the way, that's the smartest thing I've seen on a PowerPoint for this, because there's going to be people that are on the video that are going to pull up their phones and start downloading all these. That's the smartest thing ever. I love that.
Greg, I wish I could take credit for that, but I'll tell you, our marketing people, and when they brought it up, I said, now I don't have to carry 16,000 pounds of anything anywhere. I don't have to mail you 23 boxes for you to distribute. It's right there, and they can look at it now.
Yeah, and it's really easy to share. If you have them saved on your phone, you can share with a client. You can be like, oh, you know what? Hey, let me show you this. Let me show you these member benefits. We're going to talk through them. You already have the QR code saved. You can literally text it to your client. It pops up, and then they can be looking at their phone while they're having a conversation about the added value of why they want to go with a Forester's plan versus a competitor. So no, I love it. I think that's fantastic.
Good.
So, well, Tony, this has been fantastic. This has been great. We definitely have to schedule again and get you on for Smart UL, and probably even the Plan Right as well. If anybody wants to get a hold of you, if they're like, man, I got a question for Tony.
Yeah.
Are you willing to give your information out, your contact
I
information?
can, you know what, if you talk with anybody on the team, you know that I'm always available. If I'm traveling, I'll ping you back and say, give me a few minutes, or forward it on. But certainly you can always reach me by email. It's T.O. Morrison, MORRISON @foresters.com. My mobile number is 863-202-5914. I work really well by emails, because if you've got a question for me that I don't know the answer to, I need somebody to kind of hop on, I'll forward that on. You can certainly text me if I am on a plane or something like that. I'll ping you back and ask for some time. But certainly, listen, you guys are a phenomenal partner. You guys, when we look at it as collectively, you guys are our number one deal at Foresters. We want to make sure that we take care of you. I can't tell you how much we appreciate the opportunity, the relationship, all the way from the top on down. It's been fabulous. Whatever you guys need, tell us.
Awesome. Now, even though Tony was gracious enough to give us cell phone, please don't just be calling him for every little thing. Make sure you're using it for the appropriate channels. You're asking him the appropriate questions. Yeah. Let's not blow up his phone, because he will be changing his phone at a very quick time frame.
Fair enough.
So thank you so much, Tony, for coming on board. For all the agents that are watching this, if you're watching this on YouTube, thank you so much. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel and like the video. If you got any value out of this, and I know you did, if you say you did and you're lying to me, but you got any value out of this, you were entertained, you enjoyed it, you got some information, here's the fee. You share the video with somebody else that can also get value from it. And for everyone else, thank you so much. Until next time.